I probably have about 10 calls a week with absolute beginners to Amazon wholesale. And I wanted to make this out of a little bit of frustration, but basically the same narrative that I hear over and over again, and why this narrative occurs and how you solve it, right? So, right here, we start here. We have, I'm going to make 20 cold calls. You're super happy. Everyone says no. And then I get told, hey, I've been in the program for a month or two and I have no leads. Or, hey, I've been doing Amazon wholesale for a month or two and I have no leads. I'm going to talk about how you exit this cycle, how I personally exited this cycle, even though I did way more than 20 cold calls. And once you exit this, how do you scale it beyond just a couple of brands? Okay. And so the first thing is stop underestimating volume and its power. You have zero leverage, right? If you started doing Amazon wholesale a month ago, the brands, you have no leverage. You don't know anything yet. And it's okay. You're going to learn as you go. But that is what volume is going to teach you. It's going to teach you it's basically going to impart into you leverage, because you'll talk to 100 brands and then all of a sudden, instead of after talking to 20 being like, what am I doing wrong? After 100, you're like, I get it. I get what brands need and what objections mean and stuff like that. And you will close. So don't underestimate volume. You have no leverage yet. Volume is all that matters in the beginning. Quality matters a little bit, but volume is the number one driver. The next thing is position yourself as a department they cannot afford. This is one of the most powerful frames, especially when it comes to brand direct, which is working with companies. If a brand is doing $50,000 a month on Amazon, or they're doing $100,000 a month on Amazon, for them to, they're probably not that big of a brand usually. Okay. And even if their Amazon listings look terrible and all of that, it's very, very rare for a brand doing 100K a month on Amazon to be like a $1 billion brand. Usually it's a smaller brand. Maybe they're doing $1 million a month or $500,000 a month off Amazon, which, by the way, not that big of a business. And so they're doing 100K a month or 50K a month on Amazon somewhat organically, right? They don't really have control over it. And so realistically, if they wanted to scale Amazon, they would have to hire a department, right? They would have to hire someone to run Amazon ads, someone to do all the logistics, because Amazon logistics, as you probably know, are difficult. And they would have to hire all these positions. And so you say, instead of doing that, you just give me a cut of the wholesale, right? You just give me a cut of it. And then you give me a cut by selling me at wholesale prices, and I make a margin. And then you basically hire out a department. So this is a great frame, especially with a smaller business. The third thing is call until you hear a definitive no. And this is the biggest thing I see, and at least held me back, is that I probably sent 500 emails when I first started, right? The number of people I actually heard back from, maybe 50 or 100 at most, right? So like 400 of them, I just never heard from them. And so the system I now use is email follow-up, cold call, right? And so this is the end of a cold calling day. This is why I'm fired up about this, is because I just cold called people for basically 6 hours. And so it's just so clear to me, like, what the path forward is. And the path forward is calling until you hear a definitive no. I have 3 like great leads on the sheet right here that weren't there because they hadn't responded to the email. So you have to get a definitive no. And it doesn't mean you're looking for a no. It just means you call until someone tells you no. Because until that point, that brand is still potential. And if it's difficult to get in touch with them, you know what that means? It's difficult for other people to get in touch with them. So it's probably going to be a great lead. Once you get a brand, for the love of fucking Christ, call every single one of their competitors, right? Call every single one of their competitors. If you land a brand in arts and crafts, right, and they do scrapbooking, call every single scrapbooking brand on Amazon. This is something that it seems like no one uses, right? Like, if you land one, all the brands know who each other are. And so if one brand is trusting you to carry their products, the other brands will probably trust you too. And even if it's not like a direct competitor, other brands in the industry probably know of that brand, right? Like, I had an arts and crafts company and I went and talked to a painting company, and that painting company knows who that scrapbooking company is, right? True story. And we're opening an account with them right now. So once you get one, call every single competitor. Okay. That is something you have to do. So now, after doing all this, you should have leverage, right? You have some brands, you know what's going on, you have a little more experience. This is sort of where I am. I'm trying to move into the scale to the moon, right? Now that you have leverage, let's scale to the moon. So the first thing to know is where there's one good brand, there are others. So if you have a brand and it has 40% ROI, the products are awesome, you're making a ton of money, look at the other sellers on that brand, right? They know it's a good brand too. And I guarantee you the other brands they're carrying are probably also good. So make sure you contact all of their brands. The second thing is if you crack the dominant players, the rest will follow. This kind of goes off of what I was saying earlier, which is once you get a brand, close every single brand in that same industry that you can. But like if there's some subcategory of electronics or something, and you sell the top two brands that in that subcategory, like if you call a brand that's 5 times smaller, the chances they don't let you sell are very small because they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you sell this brand? Oh, okay. I literally just did this for a brand that I actually lost, which we'll talk about down here. But I literally just called brands that were like a little smaller than them and their competitors. And they were like, oh, okay, you sell this brand? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll let you sell our products. So the third thing, this is sort of the same thing. Always stay in touch with bigger brands, right? Sometimes it's not like this is again relating to brands in the same industry, which is like it took me about 2 months of being in touch with that brand for them to approve me to sell their products. And there's a difference between staying in touch and being annoying. Okay. I'm literally going to draw this out because it's very important, right? So on the left here, we have being annoying. And that means, hey, following up again. Hey, can I sell yet? Hey, have you lost any sellers? Hey, just checking in here, right? This is just annoying, right? Like this is just annoying. If you work in a 9 to 5 and you've probably experienced this, like shit like this is just annoying, right? This is staying in touch, right? Staying in touch, which is like this worked for X brand. Can we try it with you? Just so you know, these ads have been crushing, or these keywords have been crushing with X brand. Hey, we bumped AOV. God, AOV $20 by bundling with X brand, right? This is stuff that the brand actually cares about. This is stuff they can use. This is whereas being annoying, it's just another email in their inbox, and they probably get 20 a day, and if anything, it just incentivizes them to not respond to you, right? So this is what I mean by being annoying versus staying in touch with brands. It's extremely important to understand this difference because it's going to define your relationship with a brand. Now, the fourth thing about scaling, and I mean, people like Dan, 1000 Asins have talked about this a ton, never be satisfied, right? Like, and this is a story that is true to me because I started Wholesale about 6 months ago, and I'll tell you this, you're one new sales director away from losing half your revenue. I had a great brand. I flew to Japan to go to their summit, right? Flew fucking 12 hours for this brand. And lo and behold, their sales director leaves, they get a new sales director, and he says, let's go exclusive with this seller. Now, I disagree with that decision because of a number of things. I won't go into them, but it's just an example of like, this was my best brand. I was doing $50,000 a month with them, and all of a sudden that revenue's gone. Overnight, gone. They're going in transparency. I won't be able to sell it. I'm selling through the rest of my inventory, right? This is just an example. Like, don't get satisfied. If you have 4 good brands and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna chill for a little while, like I got my brands, I'm using my capital, whatever. Yeah, I could reach out to some of them, but I don't really. I have some leads. Like I hear this all the time. It's like, yeah, my capital's satisfied. Like, I don't really need to reach out to anyone new. Like, no, you need to keep reaching out. If people like Dan, who are doing 2.5 million a month, are reaching out to people all the time, you doing $25,000 a month with 3 brands need to be doing the same, because all 3 of those brands can disappear in a month. It can happen. It sucks, but it can happen. So this is how you scale once you have leverage. Hopefully, this outline will help you break the cycle. This is the hardest part of the cycle to break, which is initially when you know nothing. Just remember, volume is what you need, right? You have no leverage, you need volume. If you enjoyed learning about wholesale and you want to get started, check out the link below to the ECG Brand Direct Blueprint, where you work one-on-one with people like me who have mastered the art of brand direct wholesale, and you can become like Kenny, who closed accounts that will make him over $300,000 in the next 12 months, or Teresa, who closed 50 brand direct accounts within just 30 days of being in the program. And even if you're overseas or not in the US and you're still interested in wholesale, we have people like John Carlos, who was able to close accounts that will do $200,000 in sales every month using our systems. I hope to see you there.